Welcome to Living in Ireland's guide to filling out the Irish Citizenship application form number 8, which is version 4, November 2011. This video contains guidelines only. Official policy and legislation can change, so make sure you check with the Irish Naturalisation and Immigration Service for the latest information. That's www.inis.gov.ie. The laws governing citizenship in Ireland are set out in the Irish Nationality and Citizenship Acts 1956 to 2004. This guide provides information for adults applying for Irish citizenship. So who can apply? If you are a non-EEA national living in Ireland, you are eligible to apply for Irish citizenship if you have 5 years reckonable residency based on your immigration stamps. Reckonable residency does not include time registered as an international student, time as an asylum seeker unless you are granted refugee status, or any time out of status. It's important to note that if you came to Ireland to join your parent or parents and were granted Stamp 2 or Stamp 2A when you registered with the Garda National Immigration Bureau, these stamps can be counted towards your citizenship application, as long as your parent has reckonable residence at the same time. For example, Stamp 1, Stamp 3, Stamp 4 or Stamp 5. You must apply for citizenship before you turn 23 years old, or else these stamps will not be counted. You should include a copy of your parents' passports showing their immigration stamps and a letter from the schools you attended since being in Ireland. The letter must show your attendance dates. You must also provide a copy of your immigration stamps from your 16th birthday when you registered with the Garda National Immigration Bureau. There are some exemptions from the 5-year rule. If you're married to an Irish citizen, you can apply after 3 years residency in the state. If you are a refugee, you can also apply after 3 years residency in the state, and the 3 years begin from when you first entered the state, not from when you were granted refugee status. So let's begin. You can download Form 8 from the Irish Naturalisation and Immigration Service website. That's www.inis.gov.ie. Page 1 lists the supporting documents that you need to provide for your application for citizenship. You need to provide certified copies of some documents. In order to make a certified copy, you must take your original certificates or documents to your solicitor or a notary public, commissioner for oaths or peace commissioner, and ask them to make a copy of each document and certify that it is a true copy of the original, so that stamp and sign it true copy of the original. The certified copies that you need for your application are a certified colour copy of the photo page of your current passport, a certified copy of your original long-form civil birth certificate, and a certified translation if the certificate is in a language other than English or Irish. You also need to provide a copy of your GNIB card, letters from your current and previous employers stating when you worked for them. If your previous employer has gone out of business or you cannot get a letter from them, you should explain this in a cover letter to the citizenship section. A copy of your current P21 or P60 if you are working. Copy of your pay slips for 3 months in the last 6 months if you are working. Copy of bank statements for all of your bank accounts for 3 months in the last 6 months. If you are a doctor, you must provide a copy of your Irish medical registration letter. If you were the spouse or civil partner of a person who was an Irish citizen when they died, you should provide evidence of the marriage or civil partnership. You should also provide the statutory application fee of €175. This should be in the form of a bank draft or postal order and should be made payable to the Secretary-General, Department of Justice and Equality. This is non-refundable and is required for each application for a certificate of naturalisation. Your application will be refused if you have not completed all questions on the application form or have not inserted your full name and signed the statutory declaration in the presence of an approved witness. If you have not enclosed all of the required documentation to support your application. However, you will have 4 weeks to provide any omitted documentation, and also if you have not enclosed the statutory application fee of €175. If your application is based on having 5 years residence in the country, you must include copies of all your passports since arriving in Ireland. You need 1 continuous immigration stamp on the date you apply. For example, if you apply on the 12th of September 2012, you must have an immigration stamp that goes from the 12th of September 2011 to the 12th of September 2012, or 2 stamps that overlap, so there's no gap. You need 5 years residency based only on your immigration stamps in the last 9 years before you can apply for citizenship. If you are an EU citizen, you must provide proof of residence for 5 out of the last 9 years, including the year you apply for citizenship. You must provide 3 different proofs of residence for each year, showing your name and address, such as household bills, bank statements, revenue letters, mortgage agreement, letter from social welfare, letter from your employer, letter from your GP. If you are an EU citizen for less than 5 years, you can provide the same proofs for each year that you were an EU citizen living in Ireland, plus a copy of your immigration stamps from your date of arrival in the state until you became an EU citizen. If your application is based on refugee status, you need to provide a copy of the letter confirming your refugee status. If your application is based on your marriage to or being the civil partner of an Irish citizen, you need to provide certified proof of your Irish spouse or civil partner's entitlement to Irish citizenship, certified copy of your marriage certificate, civil partnership registration. Your spouse or civil partner must complete a sworn affidavit at the end of this form. Copies of 3 different proofs of residence for you and your spouse or civil partner for the 3 months before you apply for citizenship. For example, bank statement, utility bills, letter from social welfare, letter from an employer, letter from your GP. They must have a date, name and current address. Copies of all your passports since arriving in Ireland. You need 1 continuous immigration stamp on the date you apply. For example, if you apply on the 12th of September 2012, you must have an immigration stamp that goes from the 12th of September 2011 to the 12th of September 2012, or 2 stamps that overlap so there is no gap. You need 3 years residency based only on your immigration stamps in the last 5 years before you can apply. If your application is based on Irish associations, being related by blood, affinity or adoption to a person who is an Irish citizen, you must provide certified copies of all the documentation proving your Irish associations. Now I will go through the application form in more detail. Make sure you use black pen and print in block capital letters. Cross out any errors and put your initials beside the error. Do not use correction fluid or Tipp-Ex. Answer all of the questions. If a question does not apply to you, make sure you write NA not applicable on the form. Section 1. Name. Give your first name as it appears on your birth certificate. Give your current family name. If you ever had another name, listed here. Give the reason why your name changed, for example, marriage or deed poll. Give the date you changed your name. Section 2. Identification. Give your place of birth as it appears on your birth certificate. Give your country of birth. The date of birth as it appears on your birth certificate. State whether you are male or female. Give your present nationality, your PPS number, your GNIB number, which is on your GNIB card, your personal identity number. This is also on your GNIB card. Remember to include a certified copy of your long form civil birth certificate. Section 3. Residential address. Give your current address, your email address, your daytime telephone number, your evening telephone number, your mobile telephone number. Section 4. Previous addresses. List all of your previous addresses in the last 9 years, both in Ireland and abroad. Start with your most recent address and work backwards. If you are married to an Irish citizen or the civil partner of an Irish citizen, you need to list all of your previous addresses in the last 5 years. If there is not enough space for your previous addresses, use another page. Section 5. Residency permissions. Give the date when you first arrived in Ireland. Give your passport number when you arrived in Ireland, not your current passport number. If you did not have a passport when you arrived in the country, provide this information. List your immigration stamps as they appear in your passports. You can also use the residency calculator on www.inis.gov.ie and print this summary to include with your application. Were you a student at any stage in the last 9 years? Tick yes or no. If yes, give details of any time you spent as a student in Ireland. Did you ever apply for asylum? Tick yes or no. If yes, give details of time you spent as an asylum seeker in Ireland and whether you were granted refugee status or not. Remember to include a copy of the letter confirming your refugee status. Section 6. Residence following naturalisation. Will you live in Ireland following naturalisation? Tick yes or no. The legislation for naturalisation requires that a naturalised person continue to reside in the state after naturalisation. If you are married to or the civil partner of an Irish citizen, will you live in the island of Ireland, so that's the Republic of Ireland and Northern Ireland, following naturalisation? If you are married to an Irish citizen, tick yes or no. If this question does not apply to you, tick Not applicable. If you answered no to either of the questions above, state the country where you will live following naturalisation. Section 7. Status. What is your status? Tick the appropriate box. Then answer the following questions. Are you the widow or widower, or were you the civil partner of a deceased person who at the date of death was an Irish citizen? Tick yes or no. Have you, since the date of death of your Irish spouse or civil partner, acquired the nationality of another country? Tick yes or no. Have you, since the date of death of your Irish spouse or civil partner, married or become the civil partner of another person? Tick yes or no. Section 8. Family details. Provide the following information about your mother and father, even if your parents are deceased, and your spouse or civil partner. Full name. Give their birth name if it is different from their current surname. Date of birth. Place and country of birth. Present nationality. Provide the following information about your children. Full name. Gender, so male or female. Where they are living now. Date of birth. Place and country of birth. And present nationality. Section 9. Means of support. Tick the appropriate box. If you are employed, give the name and address of your employer. If you are self-employed or a partner or director of a company, give details of the name and address for the business. Have you been getting a social welfare payment in the past 3 years? Tick yes or no. If you answered yes, give the name of the payment you receive or received, the dates you receive or received the payment, and the reason why you got the social welfare support. The Citizenship section requests a report from the Department of Social Protection for every citizenship application. You should make sure that you give the correct information about any social welfare payments you receive or received in the past 3 years. Give details of your employment, if any, for the past 5 years. Dates when you worked in each job, the job title, and the name of the employer. Section 10. Previous applications. Have you applied for Irish citizenship before? Tick yes or no. If you applied for Irish citizenship before, give the date of the application and your previous citizenship reference number. Section 11. Background. Have you ever committed any offences against the laws of Ireland or any overseas country? Tick yes or no. Do you have any convictions in the state or any other country, including traffic offences or any civil judgments made against you? Tick yes or no. If you answered yes to either of the questions above, provide the following information. The date of the conviction or judgment, the place where the conviction or judgment took place, and the details of the outcome. Have you ever been charged or indicted inside or outside the state with a criminal offence for which you have not yet been tried in court? Tick yes or no. Are you or have you been the subject of an investigation in Ireland by the Garda Síochána Irish Police? Tick yes or no. Have you ever been involved in or been suspected of involvement in war crimes, crimes against humanity or genocide? Tick yes or no. Have you ever been associated with, been a member of or given support, including financial support, to a terrorist organisation or been involved in, supported financially or otherwise, or encouraged terrorist activities? Tick yes or no. Have you ever, by any medium, expressed views that justify or glorify terrorist violence or that may encourage others to terrorist acts or other serious criminal acts? Tick yes or no. Have you engaged in any other activities that might indicate that you may not be considered a person of good character? Tick yes or no. If you answered yes to any of the questions above, you should provide details in the additional details box. In section 11 of the form, you should give details of any offences committed or convictions. This includes any traffic offences such as fines for speeding or penalty points. If you came to the adverse attention of the Gardaí, give this information. The Citizenship section requests a Garda report for every person who applies for citizenship. If anything comes back on your Garda report that you did not mention in this section of the form, this could mean that your application will be refused because you did not provide this information. If you have nothing to add, put NA in the box. Section 12. Application based on Irish associations. If you are applying for naturalisation based on descent or Irish associations, that means being related by blood, affinity or adoption to an Irish citizen, you should provide details here. Remember to include certified copies of documents proving your Irish descent or associations. If you have Irish relations, you do not need to complete this section of the form if you are applying based on your own residency in the state. If this is the case, put NA in the box. Section 13. Application based on marriage to or civil partnership with an Irish citizen. Is your application based on your marriage to an Irish citizen? Tick yes or no. Is your application based on being the civil partner of an Irish citizen? Tick yes or no. If you are married to or the civil partner of an Irish citizen, provide the following details: the date of marriage or registration of civil partnership, the place and country of marriage or civil partnership. Provide details of how your spouse or civil partner is an Irish citizen. Remember to include certified proof of your spouse or civil partner's Irish citizenship. Section 14. References. This section should be completed by 3 references who are Irish citizens. Make sure they also use a black pen to fill out this section. They should provide the following information: their name, address, date of birth, country of birth, length of time they have known you, how they know you, their signature, and their contact telephone number. Statutory declaration. You must complete this in front of a notary public, Commissioner for Oaths, Peace Commissioner, or Solicitor. By signing this declaration, you are stating that you understand the application form and that the facts provided in the application form are true and correct to the best of your knowledge. You complete the first section of the statutory declaration and the witness or solicitor completes the rest of the form. If you are not personally known to a solicitor or have not been identified by a person who is personally known to the solicitor, then you should bring your national passport, national identity card or travel document with you as proof of your identity. You do not need to have your own solicitor because any solicitor can be the witness. Make sure that the date you write on the statutory declaration is the same as the date the solicitor writes on the form. If it is not clearly the same, the citizenship section will send the form back to you and ask you to complete this again. Section 15A. Declaration. This is to be completed by the Irish spouse of the applicant. Your Irish spouse completes this in front of a notary public, Commissioner for Oaths, Solicitor, or Peace Commissioner. Your Irish spouse can do this the same day you complete the statutory declaration or any date afterwards. He or she cannot complete this before you have signed the statutory declaration. Section 15A. Declaration to be completed by the Irish civil partner of the applicant. Your Irish civil partner completes this in front of a notary public, Commissioner for Oaths, Solicitor, or Peace Commissioner. Your Irish civil partner can do this the same day you complete the statutory declaration or any date afterwards. He or she cannot complete this before you have signed the statutory declaration. Checklist. Have you answered all the questions, enclosed all the required documents, enclosed the statutory fee of €175, enclosed certified copies of all certificates, enclosed certified translations of any documents in a language other than English or Irish, completed the statutory declaration correctly and signed and dated this in the presence of a solicitor, Peace Commissioner, Commissioner for Oaths, or Notary Public. If you are married to or the civil partner of an Irish citizen, has the Irish citizen completed the appropriate declaration form? You should send your completed application form and supporting documentations by registered post to Citizenship Applications F8, Irish Naturalisation and Immigration Service, Heffernan House, Dundrum Road, Tipperary Town, County Tipperary. Once your application is received by the citizenship section, they will check the form and the supporting documents to make sure that you meet all the initial requirements for citizenship. If everything is correct, the citizenship section will send you an acknowledgement letter with the citizenship reference number. The citizenship section will write to you if they require any further information or documentation. Make sure you inform them of any change in your address. Always put your citizenship reference number on any letters you send to the citizenship section. If you have any further questions about applying for Irish citizenship, contact Crosscare Migrant Project or the New Communities Partnership's Citizenship Application Support Service.